Do, do, do. Do, do, do.
I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati.
All right. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sab's podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. If you're new, I do want to let you know that Sab's podcast is a part of Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me there once a month for our monthly roundtable, and you can catch me here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I want to give a shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Rockfin, Twitter, and Rumble. And welcome back, guys. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday Fun Day, folks. And we have a pretty interesting theme tonight. Tonight's theme is When the Levee Breaks. When the Levee Breaks. Yeah. It's a song by Led Zeppelin. I'm not sure if you've heard it. If you haven't, you should listen to it because it greatly applies to the topics we are discussing tonight. I believe the levees are breaking. We're going to start off by giving some shout outs here to people in the chat, ladies and gents. Hey. All right. Lots of comments. Shout out to Justice by Karma says 2026 is right around the corner as Sabby continues to rise and take the power of her mission and message to the next level. Oh, thank you. This movement is building strong as the left influence keeps spreading long. Thank you. That is so sweet. Shout out to 324 CMAC. Please do a video on Seattle's new socialist mayor, Kate Wilson. Yes, someone emailed me about that. I should look into her a little bit more. Thank you so much for that. Greetings, Fafo. Hello, Sabby. Miss Riel was involved with the murder of Carly Kirk. I used code words. LOL. You're funny. Shout out to Blockbuster says hello. Greetings, Colin says Ben Shapiro is a war tourist travel agent. That is perfect, Colin. Greetings, Priest says Pinky and the Brain. Shout out to Cloudness says Sunday fun day. Well, time to spark up this spliff and listen to my homie Sabby Sabs. B1 fam, peace everyone else. What's going on, Cloudness? Shout out to Volvo says, hey. Greetings, Randy said, I love the early Sunday Sabs. Oh, thanks. Well, I mean, it's 5. I usually go live at 5 on Sundays because have family time. Greetings, international chick. Why? They're all in on it. Ooh. Guys, please be sure to answer that poll question. Do you think Pam Bondi should be impeached? We're going to get into all of that. Greetings, Mr. Moto. Put down your phone. Mr. Moto Soso is home. Shabbat shalom. Greetings, beekeeping. No need for the files to be so redacted like plain black pages. Redacting the name of the victims would have been just fine. Yeah. Greetings, author says what you really need to do is dismiss all lawyers in government and only allow them to rise to the adversary level. This move alone will save government taxpayer billions of dollars in unnecessary expenditure. Interesting. Shout out to Hannah, says Sab. All right. Greetings, Myra says, hi, everyone. What is up? Roland says, hello to Myra. Ciao, ciao. Greetings, Silva says, peace, love, Sabby. Silver Surfer. Greetings, Measured Men. Look, the math is mathing once I saw Philip's 2015 video. Don't care for Stu Peters. He aired it all out. Interesting. Shout out to Newbie says, what color will Sabby's beautiful shirt be today? It's a white shirt today, but it has flowers on it. Little flowers here. Yeah. Greetings, Lisa says, hi. Shout out to Ronnie says, yes, definitely. She should be impeached. I accidentally hit the unsure one. Oops. I know. That's the only thing that sucks with YouTube poll. I think like once you select something, I don't think you can change it. It's okay, Ronnie. It's all right. And greetings, Crystal says, hello, everyone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and dive in. We have quite a bit to get into. First and foremost, let's give a shout out here to our Sabby patrons. What's going on, guys? Shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you're interested in being a patron, we have 5 categories. The ultimate, Sabinators, Sabsters. We also have Sabbies. Yes, we do. One day I got to come up with new names for some of these. I feel like I should come up with new names now. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. And we also have members. All of their names are listed here, and you can also see their names scrolling across the bottom of the screen there on the ticker. We also have some newbies I want to give a shout out to. Let's give it up for Alex. 2 drink minimum. So I love it. I love it. I love it. 2 drink minimum. Did you work at a comedy club at some point? A lot of comedy clubs have that rule, that 2 drink minimum. And shout out to Kevin Wayne. Welcome to all the newbies. And thank you. Thank you so much for your patronage. We're going to go to this thumbnail, which apparently I forgot to put up there on the screen. But give me just a minute. 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 All right. Let's close this window here. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and take a look at that beautiful thumbnail so you can see what we are discussing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the theme is when the levee breaks. Yeah. Tonight, we are discussing, this is a big one, the Charlie Kirk plot thickens. You'll see there's a picture of Charlie Kirk and there's J.D. Vance. We're going to talk about what has been reported with 2028. And I'm going to tell you what I think the plan is here for J.D. Vance and how this also at one point involved Charlie Kirk and why I think this also could have implications when we talk about, why Charlie Kirk could have been killed and who's really all behind all of that. So we're going to get into that. Tonight, we're also going to discuss Pam Bondi. There seems to be movement in Congress from Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie to try to possibly impeach Pam Bondi for breaking the agreement to release the Epstein files, which they released a partial list. and it was heavily redacted. Over 90% of those files were redacted. We're going to get into all of that. We're also going to discuss Ben Shapiro is done. He's done. Now, the other day, I did a story about the statements that he made at Turning Point USA, and he called out a bunch of people. Tucker Carlson was there, and he responded, he clapped back to Ben Shapiro. So I already discussed that. So now we're going to part 2, where others are speaking out against him. So we're going to get into all of that. And that story is going to be actually kind of funny. I have some funny pictures to show you guys. We're also going to discuss this story. Shout out to the person who sent this to me. They didn't want to be named. I was not aware of it, and I'm wondering if other people are too. We're going to talk about these floods in Washington State, which apparently is not getting as much news as it should. And the levees broke. So this is a big one. I don't know. I haven't been down this road before, and I'm going to make a prediction about what could be to come. We're also going to discuss, this is a big story. Alex Jones, it appears, is caving. Somebody has got to him, and he is making a threat, significant warning that could implicate someone who has been speaking a lot about Charlie Kirk and other things. So somebody got to Alex Jones, and we're going to get into all of that, ladies and gents. So those are the stories for tonight. Karen says, finally get to catch you live. Hello, Karen. All right. I know, because sometimes people aren't available when I'm live. And Silver Surfer said, Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin. Let's get into it. I'm glad you brought this up again. Tonight's theme is when the levees break. When the levee breaks. And it is a song by Led Zeppelin. If you have not listened to it, you should listen to it at some point in your lifetime. In the song says, if it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. And I feel we have reached that point. I feel like the levee is breaking. It's breaking. Great song, by the way, if you haven't heard it. And I think you're going to see that with all of these stories here tonight. I think you're going to see that. Simply Said the original is a blues song. Yeah. Oh, Simply knows what's up. What is up? What is up? Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into the very first story. If you haven't had a chance to do so, smash the like for me. And if you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share, just like a Care Bear. So let's go ahead and get into our first story. If it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. When the levee breaks, I'll have no place to stay. That's what Led Zeppelin said. And I predict that could be the case with the floods that are happening in Washington State. Now, someone sent me this video, and I had to look this up because I didn't even know this was happening. Didn't know it was going on. This is not being discussed the way that the wildfires were discussed in California. And we got to bring attention to it. So shout out to the individual who sent me this video. If it wasn't for TikTok, no one would know about the broken levees in Washington. Why is the news not reporting this? So listen to this guy here, guys.
Just a little update about what's going on in Washington. We got whole cities underwater. The levee broke. The Air National Guard had to try to airlift as many people as they could throughout the night to safety when they already thought that they had reached high grounds. We got every river overflooded with a lot more rain. Temperatures finna drop. They're talking about snow. They saying watch out for you being on the interstate because we got fallen trees. We got landslides. Folks had the audacity to mention a volcano. Listen, it really feel like we living in a little Final Destination moment. And let's not forget Christmas next week. But I need y'all to know we all we got. We're gonna get through it. Take care of yourself. And y'all have a good day.
Yeah, this is Washington State. They are currently under a state of emergency due to all the flooding that is happening. And again, I shout out to the person who sent me this because I was not aware of it. And I feel like when we heard about the wildfires in California and also the fires in Hawaii, I feel like that was all over the news. But I didn't hear about what was happening in Washington state. And I want you to hold on to something that he said there. He said that the levees broke. And it reminded me of when the levees broke during Hurricane Katrina. And I think we all know what came after that. Now, this is Washington state. This is the Northwest. Multiple rivers apparently have made their way through these different towns and cities. I want to show you a couple of videos here. Sherry said, Washington state, my state, horrible flooding along I-90 west side. Look at this one here.
Lisa, get up, get down.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the coming west.
See how fast that water's coming in? That's just one of the videos. Again, people found out about this because it was on TikTok. Apparently, people there are still dealing with this. Like Christmas is just a couple of days away. They're now calling for snow. I guess this is just catastrophic. Here's another one here. This is from AccuWeather. Entire towns are underwater as widespread historic flooding grips Washington, caused by days of heavy rain that have pushed rivers to levels never seen before. So they're saying that this is historic. Again, this is from AccuWeather.
What's happened is 3 exceptional events in a row. We have this atmospheric river that's hitting the entire region. We've had 3 in the last 2 days.
Our basement's completely flooded. There's a room at the back of our carport that's flooded. Our shop's flooded. Our outbuildings are flooded.
You can see the RVs that are underwater behind me, and we have 3 adults currently that our swiftwater team is working on. We do have boats coming out to assist with this rescue.
We have not heard of any fatalities at this point from the last 24 hours. People seem to be following largely those evacuation orders.
So these homes are ruined. I grew up in different places, but having lived in the Southeast, we get a lot of hurricanes, right? So there's hurricane season and you're bound to get one at some point in the Carolinas. And one of the most devastating, effects from hurricane is the flooding. The reality is when you see these homes underwater like this, they're done. They're done. Even when all this water dries up, you can't live in that house. These houses are going to have to be torn down. And then what's going to happen to that land? I've lived through this. I've seen this multiple times. And I just keep thinking about what that guy said when he said the levee broke. Because once the levees break, that's a wrap. I don't know about flooding insurance in Washington state. I don't even know if that's a thing there. In the Carolinas, it was because we get hurricanes every year down there. But I don't know if that's even a thing in Washington state. If you live in Washington state and you're watching, please let me know in the chat. Because if it's not, then I would assume that most of those people don't have flood insurance. And if they don't have flood insurance, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. There's another video here that I want to show you. Midas Charisse, she said, why is this not all over the news? And that's what I was wondering. When this was sent to me, I had no idea. They said just south of Seattle, Pacific, Washington.
Just south of Seattle, a levee failure along the White River, flooding entire neighborhoods, forcing the immediate evacuation of hundreds of people yesterday in Pacific, Washington. You can see water completely surrounding homes and nearly reaching the roofs of cars. It's a second levee along two different rivers in the state that broke in the last 48 hours.
Just want to emphasize to Washingtonians to be alert. If you get an evacuation order, for God's sakes, follow it.
State officials say a 33-year-old man died in hard-hit Snohomish County after he drove past road closed signs into 6-foot deep water. Others had to be rescued from fast-rising floodwaters, including this man who climbed on the top of his car when he got stuck Monday night. The historic flooding has washed away parts of Highway 2, connecting the Seattle area to the Cascade Mountains. Officials say it could be closed for months.
And it's not a 1 or 2 day event, right? We're in for the long haul.
So this is what is happening in Washington state. It says a levee failure along the White River, flooding entire neighborhoods. So this happened in Katrina. This happened in Asheville, North Carolina, which I told you I had a friend that lives in Asheville, North Carolina. They just don't get flooding like ever. So that was weird when that happened. And once this water dries up, this is when investors come in, because people can't keep these homes. Investors will come in. Don't be surprised if they try to buy that land and put what they want on it. And once again, you'll see more people displaced. This happened in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. I'll show you that in just a second. This is why I worry about these storms. They're also warning people about toilet rats. This was just yesterday. Health officials warn of toilet rats following Washington flooding. I want to show you guys this here. According to an advisory posted on Facebook on Thursday from Seattle and King County Public Health Department, floodwaters can displace rodents, sweeping them through combined sewer systems and occasionally into homes. So historic flooding this month in Washington state strained local infrastructure, broke levees, and prompted nearly 1,000 evacuations across the state. With the flooding came renewed warnings about public sanitation and the need for community awareness, especially for homeowners in flood-prone neighborhoods. Modern plumbing design has reduced some risk, but the region's older combined sewers remain vulnerable when overwhelmed by heavy rain. So they are warning people that be careful when you go to the bathroom, because they're warning people that rats could end up in their toilet. It said residents should stay calm, close the toilet lid, and flush. If flushing does not remove the rat, they are advised to pour dish soap into a bowl, which breaks the surface tension and aids the rodent's exit when flushing again. If unsuccessful, close the bathroom door, contact pest control services. So this is a big deal in Washington state right now. And again, thinking about those levees breaking, I just want to remind everyone of what happened after the levees broke in New Orleans, right? The investors will come in. The land isn't going to go to waste. People with money will buy it. They will put whatever properties they want on that land. And then you will start to see another phase of gentrification come through. It happened in New Orleans. It's happened in the Carolinas. And if this doesn't get sorted out, it could also happen in Washington state, because that land, like I said, those homes will not be usable, right? You're going to have all type of mold in those homes. They're going to have to be torn down. Then the question is, do you have the money to rebuild another house on that same land? And with the flood like this, then a lot of times people may not feel comfortable staying there anymore either. So let me show you what happened in New Orleans after all this took place. Let's go to this part here. Look at this. This was the 9th ward, right? So it says here, today, one of the neighborhoods functions as both a social hub and a source of identity. It's not unusual for New Orleans to spend their entire lives in a few square miles, as is the case for Edwin Griffin, a 9th Ward native who grew up in the Desire Projects. He said he loves the city. He didn't want to leave for Katrina. However, when Hurricane Katrina submerged 80% of the city, it ushered in a new wave of newcomers eager to assist with rebuilding and forced out many long-term residents. Rapid change came to a city notorious for resisting it. The storm kickstarted the gentrification trend that swept almost every major U.S. city and transformed many New Orleans neighborhoods, perhaps none so drastically as Griffin's home turf, the 9th Ward. This is what I'm forewarning people about. When these disasters happen and the land is no longer usable at this point in time, after cleanup efforts happen, it is not uncommon for investors to make their bid. I am going to buy this land. I have the money and I'm going to rebuild. We're going to rebuild here and everything's going to be great. But oftentimes after that rebuilding, the people who live there, they can't afford the price of this new project and they are pushed out. Gentrification is not just done by investors buying apartment buildings. That's one way. It's also done after natural disasters, after these weather patterns, after floods. Flooding's a big one. The investors come in because now the land is, if it was worth something, is not worth much now because it's ruined. So they can buy it pretty cheaply, rebuild, as they call it, and you have a whole new community and just a memory of what once was. When the levee breaks, this is something that people need to be concerned about, right? Now, they are calling for snow in Washington state at this point in time. This is all crazy. This is happening like right before Christmas. People evacuated, people displaced. But in the words of Led Zeppelin, what did they say? They said, if it keeps on raining, the levee's going to break. When the levee breaks, I'll have no place to stay. It's a cover of a blues song. You should listen to it. If you know someone that lives in Washington state, please check on them and see how they're doing. Let's go to some of the comments here in the chat, ladies and gents. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Measured Man. I'll never watch Rush Hour again after seeing him in that robe on the island. Do you understand the words coming from that island he was on? Yeah, we're about to get into that. We're about to get into it. Shout out to Logically Dashing. Good to be home. Sabs on the phone. Shabbat Shalom. What's going on, Ray? Thanks for all that you do. You are welcome. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate you. Keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you. Divine says Zeppelin was heavily influenced by blues. Yes, they were. And you can hear it in their music, right? Arcane said one of Led Zeppelin's best. Keto said When the Levee Breaks is a country blues song written and first recorded by Kansas Joe McCoy and Memphis Minnie in 1929. The lyrics reflect experiences during the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927. Thank you, Keto. Keto was on it. Mama said, OMG, we saw telephone poles going down the street in the flood and we lost 1,700 at least. Okay, so she's in Washington. I'm sorry to hear that, Mama. Thank you, Megan. A shame Trump didn't think to send the National Guard there where they actually are needed, right? Yeah. I'm just, and no one, and they're not even talking about it. They're not even talking about it. It's just, it's crazy that this has been shunned by mainstream news. Crazy stuff, guys. Oh my gosh. Okie dokie. Let's move on to the next story. Something else that's also crazy. Again, they say when the levee breaks, the levee has officially broken in Congress. Over the weekend, there were Epstein files that were produced, partial Epstein files, when the full files were requested. And those Epstein files that were produced were heavily redacted. It's absolutely ridiculous that there were pages that were completely blacked out. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages just completely blacked out. Well, that is not what was requested by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. And so now Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are pursuing possible actions to impeach Pam Bondi. That's right, folks. Let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie were not happy. They had quite a bit to say. Check it out.
We're actually in this morning talking, and we said, look, we're willing to give them some benefit of the doubt as long as the quality of the release is substantive. But what we found out is the most important documents are missing. They've had excessive redactions. And the central question that Americans want to know, who are the other rich and powerful men on the island raping these young girls or covering up, has not been answered.
So those two documents that you were told by the survivors' attorneys that are the most important, the indictment that came out before Jeffrey Epstein got a sweetheart deal and an 82-page memo backing up why he should be charged, neither of those are in this release tonight.
Neither of them are in the release. And to the extent the drafter's intent of a law matters, Thomas Massie and I explicitly drafted it to cover those two documents. And you had three federal judges look at our law and say, release everything in terms of the grand jury. You had judges saying release it, and then the Department of Justice is redacting it. Now, I know what they're thinking. They think, okay, it's going to be Christmas. They're going to do this release, and people are going to move on. I would just remind them that's what they thought, that the Trump administration thought when they shut down Congress early before the August recess.
So Ro Khanna is teed, and so is Thomas Massie. Like I said, they've gone on a number of shows. I want you to see what Thomas Massie said on the House floor. This is very brutal. Again, you see why Donald Trump wants to get Thomas Massie out of Congress. Listen to this.
Decades. That is wrong. Do not let the Senate muck this bill up. And if you're a party to that in the Senate, you are part of this cover-up that we are trying to expose. I am sorry if one of your billionaire donors is going to get embarrassed because he went to Rape Island. That is what they have coming. In fact, they need to be on the other side of bars, a lot of them. Some of them will be embarrassed, but some of them need to go to prison, and the survivors know that. So how will we know if this bill has been successful? We will know when there are men, rich men in handcuffs being perp-walked to the jail. And until then, this is still a cover-up. Decades.
Yeah, and this is why Donald Trump doesn't want him in there anymore. I do appreciate this coalition between Ro Khanna, Thomas Massie, and it was also Marjorie Taylor Greene, but you guys know that she's now resigning. We need to see more of this, right? Like people standing up for what's right and not what's right for their party. Does that make sense? So Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie appeared on Face the Nation Sunday morning. You guys have got to see this. 1 second here. Let me pull this up here. At 6:20. Yeah, Face the Nation. So let me go ahead and bring this in here.
Not the way this works.
Okay, what are you going to do about it to force them to comply? I mean, can you do anything?
Oh, absolutely. Look, people have talked about, and by the way, Todd Blanche is the face of this, but it's really the Attorney General's office, Pam Bondi, who is responsible. And there are several ways to get at this. Some take longer, some are shorter. The quickest way, and I think most expeditious way to get justice for these victims is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi. And that doesn't require going through the courts. And give her, and basically Ro Khanna and I are talking about and drafting that right now.
Okay, well, I mean, on another network this morning, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine said impeachment or contempt, it is premature, Congressman Khanna. And the Deputy Attorney General said, bring it on. They don't seem to be taking this very seriously. And if you just don't have the math in the Senate, including at least now this Democratic senator not being convinced, doesn't that sort of show that you're at the limit of pressure?
Tim Kaine is a sellout, okay? Like Tim Kaine of all people, he always caves to pressure. That's Tim Kaine, okay? But listen to what they say here.
No, we only need the House for inherent contempt, and we're building a bipartisan coalition, and it would fine Pam Bondi for every day that she's not releasing these documents. I'll tell you why. I've talked to the survivors, why this is such a slap in the face. One of the survivors said they released her name accidentally, but they still have not released the FBI file about the people who abused her at her request. And the problem here is that there are rich and powerful people. We all know this. There are 1,200 victims. They're rich and powerful people who either engaged in this abuse, covered it up, or were on this island. And what the American people want to know is, who are these people? And instead of holding them accountable, Pam Bondi is breaking the law. And this is the corrupt system, the Epstein class that people are sick of. So I believe we're going to get bipartisan support in holding her accountable. And a committee of Congress should determine whether these redactions are justified or not.
It's sometime in January when you all come back, I assume that.
Let me just pause this here. So got to remember, Face the Nation is a part of CBS, and we all know who's editor-in-chief there at this point in time. But here's something to think about. Pam Bondi, the woman who said she's going to crack down on all these criminals, we're going to go after everybody. That woman is right now, she's breaking the law. She's officially breaking the law. Even Community Notes called her out on Twitter for her lies by saying that her administration is being nothing but completely transparent. That is a blatant lie. Those of us that had access to the files, and there was a link that was put out so anyone can go to that link, and I'll show you as well and see for yourself. The fact that they sat up there and they literally just like took like a marker and just blacked out all these pages is bullshit. And that's not what was asked of them. So yes, Pam Bondi is breaking the law. And I really do believe that, yes, she should be held in contempt. I mean, think about it, guys. The ridiculousness of this coming from her, the person who said, we're cracking down on those criminals, we're going after everybody, is currently breaking the law.
That'll happen. I want to ask you, though, Congressman Khanna, there have been images released in the past 48 hours. Some of them include former President Bill Clinton. There's at least one image of Donald Trump. I should say neither man has been accused of any wrongdoing related to Epstein, though they clearly knew him. But since Friday's publication, we're showing the image here now. One of the pictures was pulled down. There were 15 images total that were then redacted from the DOJ website. And it's kind of hard to see, but it's an open drawer with a photo of President Trump. Why do you think that was pulled down? Because the Deputy Attorney General says this was victims saying that their privacy or somehow their integrity was being compromised by having that image published.
What a ridiculous question. So here's the thing, and we'll show you some of this yourself so you can see basically what they did, what Pam Bondi and them did, is they removed anything that made Trump look bad, and they kept everything in that would make, quote unquote, Democrats look bad. That's basically what they did. And one photo of Donald Trump out of all the photos that we've seen is absolutely ridiculous. They went through and made sure they scrubbed his name and made sure that he would be in good standing. But again, as I said before, there are multiple photos, which I'll show you, that have Bill Clinton and other people who are with other women, and their faces are redacted. So you can't see the faces of those women. They could have done the same thing for Donald Trump, but they decided just to remove them instead. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. Right now, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, and whack-ass Ben Shapiro, who made that statement at America Fest, they are covering up for a sex trafficking ring to protect their precious Israel. That is what they are doing at this point in time. And they're not alone. And here's the thing. When I told you the Epstein files are bipartisan, believe me, because there's a number of pictures. I showed one of them last time I talked about this, but there's a number of pictures with Noam Chomsky that has leftists like freaking out. But the reality is, these pictures show that Noam Chomsky is hanging out with people that he told you were bad people. So what that goes to show you is that at the end of the day, when money talks and when it comes to business, people don't always follow what they say. So I don't care who any of these people, I don't care what political affiliation the people are. And you shouldn't either. But I sat there on X and I watched people try to find ways to run cover for Trump, tried to find ways to run cover for Noam Chomsky, not realizing they're both a part of the same club. And yes, it's disappointing. I get it. It is disappointing. Noam Chomsky wrote Manufacturing Consent. You're upset. You're disappointed. It's a bummer. It sucks. But that doesn't mean that you sit up here and you look the other way or you try to make excuses for it. What these pictures showed is that Noam Chomsky had a closer relationship with Jeffrey Epstein than he claimed that he had, and he had a long relationship with him. It wasn't just we met for a meeting or two. And it is driving me crazy that people are doing that with him and with Trump because they don't want their hero to be wrong or to be engaged in something like this.
Well, I'm less concerned about that photo. I don't know the facts. My concern is the major documents that we know are out there that haven't been released. The 60-count indictment that shows massive financial fraud and foreign interference, the prosecution memo. And look, they put out these Bill Clinton pictures. Well, they're allegations that they're foreign governments that potentially were involved. And that all needs to come out. And it needs to come out in the indictments. It needs to come out in the prosecution memos. But the reality is they put out these pictures for Bill Clinton. Fine, put it all out, but don't distract from the fundamental issue, which is who are these powerful people who visited the Rape Island? I mean, there are 1,200 victims. It defies common sense that it was just Epstein and Maxwell, and they're hiding something. Yep. And you know why the American people are so upset? My X account had MAGA supporters supporting me for the first time, saying, you know, Pam Bondi whiffed, according to Susan Wiles. She is breaking the law. She needs to be held accountable.
You're referring to the Vanity Fair quote that the chief of staff gave saying the whiffed. And she said that Pam Bondi gave them binders full of nothingness. And then when it came to the client list, she said it was on her desk. There is no client list, quote, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk. Do you see that as an acknowledgement here, though, that the politics have overtaken the substance?
Duh. I'm not even going to get into we got to get out of this. Duh, of course, people are running cover for their party instead of trying to find ways to get justice to the victims. Now, let's get into some of this. One of the things that was revealed in these files was this report that was filed by Maria Farmer, who, after all these years, has finally been validated. Maria Farmer, don't forget, she came out against Jeffrey Epstein years ago, before all of this happened. And people called her crazy and all different types of names. Well, now you see this information is reported in the files.
Epstein survivor Maria Farmer says that she is, quote, over the moon because of the fact this document was part of the DOJ partial release of the Epstein files. She says that this is a validation of the story that she has said for years, that she first reported Epstein back in 1996, telling the police that he stole the photos of her and her underage sister and that he threatened to burn down their house, that all there. But however, other survivors are still waiting for their validation. Danielle Bensky speaking to the press about how disappointed she was, the fact that all the documents are not coming out today, that as much as this information will bring up trauma, how important it is for them to have the information from the federal government about details the federal government knows about their own lives, as well as validation. How important you saw today for Maria Farmer to receive such validation. Sadly, other survivors still waiting. Epstein survivor.
But Maria is now validated. So people owe that woman a huge apology. And I think we have the one of Noam Chomsky here as well. I'll go ahead and bring this up. And yeah, this one sucks. It really does. But people got to see this, because my whole thing is like, look, we're not running cover for any of these fucking people. Let's go ahead and bring this one up here. This is Max Blumenthal shared it. Here was another one. Noam Chomsky, and look at who he's with. Noam Chomsky hanging out with Ehud Barak, 2015. Chomsky choosing to stain his legacy by befriending an Israeli war criminal via Epstein is sad, but also contemptible in light of his undercutting of the BDS movement. Yes, people forget this, but remember, Noam Chomsky did not support boycott, divest, and sanction. He did not support BDS. And there is Noam Chomsky right there with Ehud Barak. Now, why is this important? Ehud Barak is the former prime minister of Israel. He is also one of the people that Virginia Giuffre wrote about in her book, who she said violently assaulted her. She said that was one of the worst experiences that she had. It was with him. It's in her book. And so, yeah, it's disappointing, but you can't just say, I'm not going to talk about that person because I liked Noam Chomsky, so we're not going to mention him. And I'm seeing people do that, just like I'm seeing people do it with Trump as well. Here's another one. Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro invited and hosted Jeffrey Epstein in 2003, along with the former Colombian president. No surprises, Fidel Castro was instrumental in disarming revolutionary anti-colonial armies in the region for empire and gagging Assata Shakur, R.I.P. There's Fidel Castro with Epstein and Colombia's former president. This guy knew a lot of people. Epstein knew a lot of people. This is how deep this guy was. We'll continue to show you more. First and foremost, shout out to the guy who created this. We'll get to him in just a second. He's a rock star. Rise here. He made an Epstein file viewer because the government's website sucks, which it did. And so we'll get to that in just a second. But here's one of the things that you're going to see in those files. Actually, I'll come back out so you can see it bigger. There's a uniform. And here is an IDF t-shirt. Israeli Defense Forces. So there you go. Now, can people just stop asking, well, we don't really know if Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad. He got a freaking IDF t-shirt. Right there, out in the open. I told you they don't want Israel to be implicated. This is the one about the photo on the desk. A photo depicting Donald Trump, image 468, has apparently just been deleted from yesterday's Epstein file drop. Very damning. Yeah. The picture in question, it was a picture of Jeffrey Epstein's desk, and it showed pictures of Donald Trump. I'll show you other angles as well. But there's a couple of pictures here of Donald Trump in the desk drawer. There's one here with him and other women. And then there's a picture of him there. Like I said, if it was about protecting the victims, they could have just easily just blurred out their faces if that was the case, just like they have with some of these other pictures that you will see as well. But they removed that. Everybody sees what's going on, and people still running cover for Trump. It's absolutely disgusting. And we did the Fidel Castro one. Let's go to part 2 for Type VNC. I want to show you guys this website that Rise created. It was smart to do that. When those files dropped and that link appeared, everybody was trying to access the link at the same time, and it kept saying you're in the queue. And then eventually it was very clunky. You guys know how government websites can be, just basically a hot mess at the end of the day. Let's go to this one here. Here's another angle so you guys can see that desk. A photo from Trump has been removed from the Epstein file. Shout out to Power to the People. There was another one of Donald Trump right here on Epstein's desk. Yeah, like they were friends. It kills me now. All of a sudden, people want to distance themselves from this dude as if they had nothing to do with them. Get out of here. So this is what Rise created, and I find it to be very effective. You can just go up here and you can select the names of the people. And so I selected Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, there's 25 pictures in here of Bill Clinton. You can click on them here. See, this is what I meant. So there's Bill Clinton in the jacuzzi, pool, hot tub, whatever the hell that's supposed to be. There's a woman here, but you see there's a black square over her face. So they did that to protect them. They could have done the same thing with Donald Trump. But again, they're trying to make him look, good. But there's a number of pictures with Bill Clinton here. There's one of him. I don't know who this is, but again, like I said, they covered up the face. Let's go down here. Another one. That's to protect those women. Here's another one. Bill Clinton again. I wonder what Hillary has to say about all this. I wonder what she has to say. We'll get back to that Michael Jackson one because that one's one that they doctored. Here is Bill Clinton and Mick Jagger with a woman. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of people, and they know it's going to take a lot of people down, and that's why they don't want you guys to see that. So if we change the names just to show you the difference, if I go to Donald Trump's name, there is just one picture, one, and that's this one. So do you see what I'm saying? One picture of Donald Trump, but he got all these pictures of Trump on his desk. So they changed these. The one that's driving people crazy is Chris Tucker. For those who are not aware, Chris Tucker, he was in the Rush Hour movies. He became famous more so after the Fridays, like the movie Friday with Ice Cube. I didn't even know that Chris Tucker knew Jeffrey Epstein in that way. So it makes you wonder, how did Jeffrey Epstein get a hold of Chris Tucker? And here he is here. There's a picture of Chris Tucker there. Let's just go to the next. We can go to him. There's him and Ghislaine Maxwell right outside of a plane. Anybody heard from Chris Tucker lately? Anybody? I was shocked to see this one. Let's go to the next one here. There he is again. There's Chris Tucker again. There's a number of these pictures here, but I was kind of shocked to see him. I was surprised because Chris Tucker, yeah, he's popular, at one point, but it's not like Chris Tucker was like the number one actor or whatever at that point in time. It's just random to me that they developed in a relationship with Chris Tucker. Number of names that he did to sort here. The Jeffrey Epstein ones are kind of, some of these I can't show in here, but you can also go to that site and you can see this for yourself. David Copperfield. What's this about? David Copperfield in a robe with Ghislaine Maxwell there. There's another one. I mean, by the way, anybody heard from David Copperfield, or did he make himself disappear? Because I haven't heard from Dave in quite a while. Haven't heard from you, Dave. Let's see who else is here. Walter Cronkite. I think I showed those. We saw Mick Jagger, Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey there that's Bill Clinton to its left. For those who are not aware, Kevin Spacey was accused of sexual assault of a male who claimed he was a minor at the time, right here in Massachusetts. Kevin Spacey wasn't found guilty. I think they may have dropped the charges. I forget, but yeah, people, I don't know. I don't know if everybody remembers that. And they're even doctoring things. Look at this one. Tennessee Holler says, wild. As the community note says, Trump's DOJ released a publicly available pic of MJ and Clinton and Diana Ross with their own kids and implied it's them with victims. They aren't just redacting, they're doctoring. This is wild. So people took this and they ran with it. It's a picture of Michael Jackson with Bill Clinton and Diana Ross, and these are their kids. This picture was included in the Epstein files release. So people took it and they said, oh my God, look at this. Per the Epstein files, here's a picture of Bill Clinton with his arm around Michael Jackson and redacted individuals. So people said, look, Michael Jackson was there with victims. Those are his kids, and that's Diana Ross's kid. So Community Notes came in and said, this is a publicly available picture. It was taken in 2003 at a Democratic fundraiser. The faces of Evan Ross, Paris, and Prince Jackson are blurred. So what I'm saying is, guys, they're removing things from the files and they're including things in the files that have nothing to do with the files. Anything but to point the finger at Donald Trump and the others. I want to show you this as well. The DOJ also got pushback from Community Notes. The Justice Department is not redacting the names of any politicians. Todd Blanche made it clear the only redactions being applied to the documents are those required by law, full stop, consistent with the statute and applicable laws. We are not redacting the names of individuals or politicians unless they are a victim. Community Notes stepped in. The DOJ's extensive redaction of the only partially released Epstein files does not comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act and thus is against the law. So Pam Bondi is breaking the law. There's a poll question there you guys can answer whether or not you think that she should be impeached. But I just want to take you back to what Robert David Steele said about Epstein. This guy is no longer around. Listen.
Epstein was basically a penniless moron who couldn't graduate from college. And they placed him in a school and then they sheep-dipped him at Bear Stearns. And then Les Wexner, who appears to have had an affair with him, then funded him as a fake billionaire. And that was the launch. Now, Epstein wasn't smart enough to actually run a prostitution ring. That's all Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay? Ghislaine Maxwell, as best I can tell from secondary sources, was running a prostitution ring for the Mossad in New York City. It included children, but they needed a boy and bring people in and kind of basically take it up to the presidential level. And so Jeffrey Epstein was managed by Ghislaine Maxwell. And one of the things people don't understand is that the Mossad doesn't just blackmail people for political influence and for money for Israel. They also blackmail corporate chiefs and others to gain special access to the computers so that they can plant backdoors. This is how Robert Maxwell made his name, with a software program called Promise that installed backdoors in all these government computers. They use these computer backdoors to get advanced knowledge to do insider trading. The greatest practitioner and enemy of the United States in the industrial espionage arena is not China or Russia or France or Germany. It's Israel and Great Britain.
And not too long after that statement, he was gone. And all this time, the U.S. government has been trying to get you to hate China, Russia, Venezuela, when Israel is the one that has the technology and the technological advancement to get these backdoors in these computers to do insider trading. Guys, I'm trying to tell you, there's a lot of blackmail that's going on. And the levees have broken. And that's why you see people reacting the way they are. They don't know what to do. They're like, not the person I trusted so well. No, it's the Democrats. No, it's the Republicans. No, no, no. All these people are part of the same club. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these rich people within that circle also have dirt on each other. The same way you got dirt on people that you probably grew up with. They also have dirt on each other. And it could also be one of those things where Donald Trump's kind of like, oh, if all this gets out there, then people may come out with some other stuff about me. Like, these people are corrupt, they're evil, and they need to be stopped. Just point blank. It's disgusting. And what is hilarious to me is that I'm seeing people from the party of family values try to make excuses for this. That's the crazy part. Don't come to me talking to me about no family value. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Not the people who wanted to protect the children. When the levee breaks, that's where we're at right now, guys. It's crazy. It's wild. I think Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, they really need to, they're banding together here. Somebody protect both of them, especially Thomas Massie, because Donald Trump already says he don't want him to come back into Congress. It's just a mess. It's just an absolute mess. And masks are falling off. Crazy times. Let's go to some of the comments here, ladies and gents. Thank you, Measured Man. Moved my mom to Houston during Katrina, 30 years pediatrician, but 5 decades family land. I fought for years, unsuccessful to reclaim our land, but I tried. Mom passed, finally reclaimed. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Measured Man. Thank you, AB. They may as well have just rickrolled us again. Thank you, Andy. Bill signed if you boycott the shoes, no FEMA. If you boycott, no FEMA. I don't know. Could be in reference to Washington State. Ray says, I always look forward to Sabby's videos and lives. You're amazing. Well, thank you, Ray. Thank you, Flyaway. Face the Nation, Zio owned. Interviewer was an ass. Look behind her. Zio. Kit. Heartland's Media. All of these punks and villains will be exposed. I hope so, Kit. I hope so. Jack says Chomsky did great work, and I doubt he was kitty fiddling. Look, the point is he lied about how close he was with Jeffrey Epstein and when was the last time he spoke with him. Trump also lied about that. Thank you, Fuzzy Balls. CBS equals no talent. Barry Weiss equals a Netanyahu toady. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard was 100% right about Syria, despite all the coordinated media gaslighting. Thank you, Roger. Chumpski. Thank you, Joan. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you, Wasim. Keep in mind the director of Rush Hour, Brett Ratner, was accused of, we'll say sexual assault or rape, and fled to Israel. That is the connection. Oh my God. Thank you, Flyaway. YouTube zapped my connection. It's back now. WTAF. Thank you, Mountain. Be observant of PSYOP, false flags, avoid Disney. And thank you for this one, Mountain. It was not the Indians during the Boston Tea Party. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. All right, we're going to move on to the next story. If you haven't had a chance to do so, please smash the like. Thank you. Let's keep this show moving. Again, the theme is when the levee breaks. This next story just came out. So somebody got to Alex Jones. It appears to me Alex Jones got the call because he made a video on Saturday evening, saying what he's about to do in regards to Candace Owens, and it's not good for Candace, which is weird considering what he was saying just quite a bit ago. In fact, I covered that when he said that he stood with Candace. That was 2 months ago. I want to take you back. We're going to go through the timeline so you can see his transition here. This is what he said 2 months ago about when Candace was getting attacked for the Charlie Kirk stuff.
But the point is that this is a real dead man switch. She has sent out it to the Tate brothers, Dave Smith, Max Blumenthal, Tucker Carlson, and others. Well, I'm trying to get her on for weeks. I'm a little bummed out she didn't send it to me because I'd like to stand with her, but we do stand with her. So they're already out saying she's a liar. She's going to release that.
So Alex Jones is saying that he does stand with her. So that's someone who is coming forward, right? That's someone on the right who is coming out and saying that he supports her. Have you guys heard anybody else yet? Because I haven't really. You can let me know in the chat if you had, but obviously the turning
or a lobby around that. Because I've seen no evidence. They said his security detail was Israeli. They weren't. It was just the first knee-jerk reaction. I said, you can certainly say Israel's a suspect, but I said, I need to see proof. We need to figure out the ballistics and who really shot him and all that before we then, start saying, okay, motive. I mean, you can always look at motive, but first, with the forensic situation, are they covering it up? What's the ballistics? That's just where I am. I'm not going to just say something because people think it. But when she releases this, and she's got it, make no mistake, just like she keeps bringing the goods, and she just sets the hook with the worm on it, or puts the mousetrap out with the cheese on it, and they come out and say, you're a liar. And she goes, boom, you're a liar, boom, you're a liar, boom, you're a liar, boom, bam. And she'll let them, for a week or so kind of stew and say she's a liar, and then she'll just release it. And then what she's saying is, you kill me, it doesn't matter, it's coming out. And the word is, he specifically thought Israel was going to kill him.
Yep. So that was just 2 months ago. Alex Jones there said that he stood with Candace. And he was talking about how she was getting attacked for looking into the death of Charlie Kirk. No one has looked into this as much as Candace has. But he defended her. And then going through the timeline here, this was posted December 13th. So I just want to show you his evolution over time.
And a lot more. Boy, I got to tell you, I have not commented on the TPUSA Candace Owens multi-month long soap opera that has been sucking all the oxygen out of the room and become the only major issue anybody's talking about, literally. And obviously, I'm not just here to get ratings. I could be all over this and just, but I have all these other serious issues I'm looking at and dealing with here. And so I haven't had time to really go investigate it, all the angles of it, and look at it. And it's gotten so bad. About 2 weeks ago, I started doing about 3 hours of research a day just because I need to know what I should do about this because it's become such a distraction. And I'm not trying to blame TPUSA. I'm not trying to blame Candace. I'm not trying to pick a side here. And it's not that I ride fences. I haven't figured out exactly what's going on yet, but I've hit a tipping point with the information, and in the next few days, I'm going to go ahead and cover it. But it gives me a headache to have to go into all this stuff. But I'm just going to say this. What we're being told has gotten so elaborate and so ridiculous. And so many of the sources that, this person says this with no proof of who they are, no proof. They're in Arizona the day before, and they're special ops, but in another group, and they go into a room, and there's 12 colonels or 15 colonels, and they're all planning to, take out Charlie Kirk. I mean, just come on.
So see the change? He went from I stand with Candace and that people come after her and she keeps producing receipts and she's like, bam, bam, bam. He went from that to on December 13th, I'm not trying to take a side on this or anything. And you have no proof about these people who were supposedly in Arizona the day before Charlie Kirk died. So I'm just showing you the transition, and then we're going to get to the video that he posted Saturday.
And all these anonymous people popping up with their voices changed and blurred, and then everybody runs with that, and then later it's not true, and just building and 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 building, and all these groups involved and all these things involved, and just all of it. And then statements like, how dare Erica Kirk raise $40 million supposedly in a fundraiser? We need giant war chest. TPUSA flooded the zone, got millions of voters registered, took us over the top. The Democrats completely hated it. And then I'm not attacking Candace because I've got big problems with TPUSA. And that's why I haven't got to it yet. So I've got to sit there with all the information I have and just write up a list of the TPUSA stuff I've got issues with and concerns, and then all the things that have been put out. And then you just, I'm just asking questions, move the next thing in a soap opera way. And it's fine to ask questions. It just becomes something that has to be analyzed and looked at And so that's why I haven't covered it yet, because I like to actually know what's going on.
Yeah, Eric said Alex trying to play both sides. Yeah, you see how he switched. And here's the other thing I want to mention. It's really weird that that's coming from him. It's coming from all people. It's coming from Alex Jones. He's saying, I'm trying to know everything that's going on, and we need to have proof of this and da 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 da. Him of all people. It's weird that's coming from him. Now, Saturday night, he said, please pray for Candace Owens. Report set to drop in the next 24 hours. Watch this transition.
As most of you that pay attention know, I am not the internet police. I don't infight. I don't try to focus on what other people are theorizing about or doing. I try to focus on what I'm doing. And so it's with a heavy heart that I am forced to put out another report, either tonight or tomorrow morning. We're adding a lot of information right now, a lot more research, dealing with Candace Owens. Just as soon as the whole Egyptian plane thing gets debunked with all the facts, now she's moved to something else, and I'm really worried about her. I'm worried.
So Alex Jones is now saying that he is going to put out a report against Candace Owens. That changed quickly. Let's hear the rest.
About her and her mind, and I'm also worried about the country and where this is going. It's good to question Charlie Kirk's assassination. I have big questions. We know Cash Patel covered up an investigation into accomplices. I broke that up before it hit the mainstream news. So I'm not saying don't question. But her latest source and what she's done, implicating the U.S. military and all this other stuff, is just so damaging. And when you go investigate it, it's so crazy. And just like with the Egyptian plane, she says she has the metadata, then publish it. And when she did publish it, and it got fact-checked, it wasn't accurate. Candace, we care about you. But you just doubled down again with something even more absurd. And I hate watching you destroy yourself like this. We'll be covering it all with the reports coming out at Real Alex Jones on X, on Rumble, and Infowars.com. God bless you all.
So that was the message that Alex Jones sent out, that he's about to drop a report against Candace Owens. So it appears to me that Alex Jones has received the call, and he is now going to be, I guess, joining the list of people that are trying to, come after her. Don't forget, Alex Jones still has that lawsuit. Someone also mentioned this in the chat. We don't know if that could be a factor, if he's trying to get money to go along with all of this. But it's interesting, in that video, he said like his issue is like now she's bringing the military in to all of this. And I believe that probably has something to do with this conversation that took place a couple of days ago. Candace brought this guy onto her show. I guess he goes by the name Mitch. A shout out to Notori. Notori tagged me about this. He's a veteran, and he is saying that he claims, I gotta say alleged here, that he allegedly saw Erica Kirk and others at Fort Hachucha, however you say it, Hachucha, the night before Charlie Kirk was killed. He says with 95 to 99% certainty, he saw Erica Kirk, Brian Harpole, who's the TP USA security head, and Mark Amodi. So listen to what he said here. It seems like this is the interview that kicked Alex Jones off, because he mentioned now she's bringing in the military. So listen to this.
By the time we wheeled down that, we got the news about Charlie Kirk. And of course, that's been just all over the news. Everybody's watching it. And once I saw a picture of somebody in a ponytail with those eyes, that was that person. They were there. And yeah, the head of security there, he was one of the people walking out with the congressman. Now, how would I know that? I just have a gift for recognizing people. And
Huachuca. Thank you. I knew I pronounced it wrong.
And yeah, maybe it's not him. Maybe he has doppelganger, but somebody with the same mannerisms, the same crick in his neck, face, the waxy look on his face, hand gestures, shoulder shrug, gait, approximate height, haircut, definitely walked past me. And
If
in
you
the
had to
hotel,
put it at a percentage that you were looking at Brian Harpole, maybe he's got a brother in the military, who knows, right? Maybe he does have a doppelganger, he's got a twin brother, who knows? And I want to be clear, I can confirm on this podcast live every step of your story in terms of where you went, what time you were there, that there was this big meeting that happened. I confirmed the location with other people that are on Fort Huachuca currently. I can confirm everything with metadata. I obviously can't confirm that you saw who you say you saw. If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw Brian Harpole, what percentage would you put it at?
So she did say here, which was good for her, that she can't confirm it, right? So this is him telling what he believes that he saw.
95.
95%. Okay.
95 to 99. I mean, when I saw him, on the interview with his face and gestures, with that photo, it struck me in my gut. I blew it off until there was, some other pictures that came up with other people.
What other people? Other pictures?
If you want me to say, there's a picture of Erica Kirk with a ponytail, and from her past. That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before, and she was with that man in the lobby, and that man, he was present at that meeting.
So here's something someone pointed out. I think this is YK said, Mitch said Erica was with a younger guy at the hotel the day before the meeting, and he saw Brian Harpole at the base. Rim said, I'm not big on this guy. He gives me a bad vibe. He could be a plant to discredit Candace. Let me say something about this here really quickly. What Ari said. So here's the thing with Mitch. It would have been different if, like, let's say he had a picture. Like, what if he would have taken a picture, or if he had like a video or something that he could show to prove, hey, these are the people that I saw. But because he doesn't have that, he said, well, I believe I saw them. I'm 95 to 99% sure. But because he doesn't have proof, that opens the door for people to come in and say, okay, well, this guy is just making stuff up, right? And there's no proof. So the good thing is that Candace said that she cannot confirm it. And I will say this. Rem said he gives a bad vibe. I saw other people saying this too on social media, that they did not trust this guy. Listen, I'll tell you, in the podcast space, sometimes you never know. And a lot of times I will try to vet people through Eric too. Eric, my producer in the background, can tell you this. Sometimes people will reach out, they'll send an email and they'll say, I'm this person and I saw this and I was at this place or whatever. And you never know. And sometimes, like, I have brought people like that on, and then only to come to find out that they weren't as sure as what they thought they were sure about and stuff. So that was something like I had to learn, along the way. And I am more hesitant about just saying, okay, go ahead and come on, without making sure that there's some type of proof. There's some type of evidence, right? But that being said, this guy says he's 95 to 99% certain that those are the people that he saw. Some people are saying that because he didn't have the evidence, some people feel like this guy could have been a plant. Now, I don't know that. I don't even know who this guy is. I just know that he goes by Mitch or something like that. But what it did was it allowed someone like Alex Jones to say, okay, now you're bringing on some military person. This has gone too far. I'm going to drop a report on Candace Owens. And so somebody picked up a phone, somebody contacted Alex Jones, and it seemed to have happened more so after this conversation.
The next morning.
If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw that the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erica Kirk, what percentage would you put that at?
Those are really rare eyes. That's 95, 99%. I can't imagine somebody else.
Well, let's say she was in the base. Let's say you're right. And you saw her. This is the night before. This is on the 8th. And maybe she was in the hotel, but maybe she was there for a different reason. Maybe she was there because she's always been open about the fact that her mother moved to Arizona because she got involved with the military. So that could be totally unrelated to the meeting that took place on the 9th. And I didn't want to, because I'm afraid of my prayer was very intentional that night. And I am going to show you where they were congressmen from, but there is one to allow the internet to hear your testimony. But I know that my prayer was very intentional that night that I received that email. So I'm going to allow the internet to hear your testimony, hear what you think. And I also want to show them a picture because we did look through some congressmen and I didn't tell you where they were congressmen from, but there is one that you thought looked familiar. And I am going to show that picture of him now. This is, and Skylar, someone's got to get in my ear because I'm blanking on his name. Mark Amodi. Is that right? Mark Amodi from Las Vegas. And you thought that this could potentially be the congressman that you saw on the 9th?
Oh, yeah. 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 That's
What
the one that walked closest
percentage?
to me.
That's the one that walked closest to you.
That's 95. I'm absolutely, after I've looked at it, that was definitely the guy.
So to let everybody know the update since then, Mark Amodi has come forward on X and he denies all of this. He denies that he was there. He says that he was in Congress to vote that day, although the vote record doesn't really show that he was present to vote for everything. So there is a time gap in there from what I've seen from the vote record. But he's denying this. I haven't heard denial from Erica. But this was it. This was the conversation. It was right after this that Alex Jones was like, look, okay, that's it. I'm putting out a report against Candace Owens. This has got to stop. This has gone too far. So that tells me that Alex Jones got a call. Somebody reached out to him. And as you guys can see, the levees are breaking. Like I said, when the levee breaks, all chaos will ensue. And that's what we're seeing is happening, right? And by the way, we don't get here without the FBI not being transparent about that day, not being transparent about the shooter, about what happened to Charlie Kirk, the weapon that was used. We don't get here. But because they were not transparent, that's how we got down this road. And so now people like Candace and others, not just her, are going about their way to try to find out, what is hidden here. Is there a cover up? Who's covering it up? What is all happening? And I say this, I think that one thing that I thought about is if all of these people feel and know, or not feel, know, if all these people know that she's not telling the truth, why aren't they suing her? So that private conversation that happened between her and Erica Kirk, if Erica felt or knows for a fact that this is incorrect information, why isn't there a lawsuit? I don't think that they do know. And Alex Jones has now decided to join along with that group. And I don't know when this report is supposed to be dropped. He posted that video on Saturday, but he said he is putting out a report against her. So here it comes. Stay tuned, folks. Like I said, when the levee breaks, you're about to see more. This is just the beginning. There's going to be more. More things are going to happen. More things are going to come out. Let's go to the comments, ladies and gents. All right. Eric, we can go to part 3. Thank you, Kenman. Chomsky is a creep. Thank you. Thank you, Mountain. Identify who got the call. $7,000 plus TS nepotism. Thank you, Measured Man. Not being funny, Sabby. See that document I sent with Lori Technology, which is why Stu Peter reached out because he said I posted that 4 weeks ago. I have to check my email. Rise said maybe this is his way of paying off his lawsuits. That's another thing to think about. Thank you, Mountain. It's not all midget horses, but it is always midget horses. So we're going to get to the midget horses in just a second. Avoid collectivism, but recognize the repeated patterns, math and inflation bankers be. Thank you, Egg. Thanks. You are welcome. Thanks, Bailey. What really hurts is watching Charlie Kirk's final interview before UVU and seeing how much Turning Point is going against how he ran Turning Point. Love your show. Keep it up. Thank you. Limitless said, I think Mitch was a plant. Thanks, Miss Ritchie. Why do they always try to smear Black people who question the official narrative is crazy? Yee, Michael Jackson, Candace, always the play. Thank you. Whoops, I saw that one. Thank you, Measured Man. Planes were not debunked. We actually found another. They are not able to locate that is out of Arizona, that is retired military, served in Romania with Erica Kirk. I'm a vet. Our memory is conditioned for details. Tell it. Thank you, Mountain. Always improve and review your sources of information. Do your own research, but follow continual truth. Candace and Tucker are talking truth. Thank you. And thank you, Measured Man. The fact that her family is from J Mafia and proven connected to Versace, her aunt worked as real estate and assistant, it all aligns. Yeah, I told you guys a while back and some people got mad at me. Let's remember a while back, I told you guys I did not trust Erica. I said it a while back and people were like, how dare you say that about someone who's grieving? Like people got mad at me, but I don't know. As you guys can see, more things coming out. More things coming out. And speaking of more things coming out, let's get to this next story. Well, when the levee breaks, Ben Shapiro is done. Ben Shapiro, in my opinion, is officially done. He had his ass handed to him over the weekend, starting off with America Fest. I covered the story about him and Tucker kind of going back and forth at America Fest. Ben Shapiro started the drama. He had to take it there by coming onto the stage and calling people out for not going along with his pro-genocide agenda, his Israel agenda. So he called out names. And one of those names that he called out who was present that night to speak was Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson, in my opinion, he handed Ben Shapiro his ass, in my opinion. But America Fest has continued. And now others have come forward to call out Ben Shapiro. Started off here with Steve Bannon came in, and apparently Steve Bannon had some things to say about Ben Shapiro. Now, let's not forget, Steve, we haven't forgotten your pictures in the Epstein files either. I ain't forget. I did not forget. But listen to what he said about Ben Shapiro.
Now, Benji Shapiro sat up here last night. And he was all, I'm going to, it's all about the truth. Ben, I know you. Now, Benji Shapiro sat up here last night. And he was all, I'm going to, it's all about the truth. Ben, I know you a long time, brother. You can't handle the truth. Let's face it, Ben Shapiro is the farthest thing from MAGA. Let's be blunt. He is a hardcore never Trumper. He's a hardcore never Trumper. In the spring of 16, he tried to upend Breitbart. He walked off the job, made a big deal about some incident in Mar-a-Lago with Corey Lewandowski. He tried to turn it to Ted Cruz from Donald Trump because he hated Donald Trump.
That's true. And some people may have forgotten about that. During Trump's first presidential run, Ben Shapiro was not in support of Donald Trump. He is still conservative, but he was one of those never Trumpers. Eventually he did get on board with Donald Trump and Trump's agenda. But I think sometimes people forget about that. Ross says he looks like Benjamin Franklin. Why? Oh my gosh. I have the funniest chat.
In the general election, he barely supported Donald Trump. The first sign of when President Trump gets sent back to Mar-a-Lago, the very first individual that jumped on the Ron DeSantis train, the Israel First train, was Ben Shapiro. And those are the darkest days we had. In 21 and 22, you guys were there. He's consistently been against Trump. And now that President Trump doesn't back the Greater Israel Project. What is Greater Israel? It's not about Israel itself. It's about an expansionist Israel, an imperial Israel that Netanyahu and that crowd have thought up. And the Israel First crowd is Ben Shapiro, Tel Aviv Mark Levin, and many others that want to put that ahead of America's interests.
But see, some of us tried to tell you guys, even during the 2024 election. I said, well, both Kamala and Donald Trump are pro-Israel. I was really hoping that would be a time for third parties to really break through. But I don't know. A lot of people ended up staying home. And that's just the reality, right? So Steve Bannon coming after Ben Shapiro again. Ben Shapiro started this. For those who are just joining, he started it. So things could have gone very differently. And then now Megyn Kelly is speaking out against Ben Shapiro.
You mentioned him, and your name came up on this stage last night in regards to pretty much all of this. Would you like the opportunity to respond?
Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement, which shows a willful blindness about his position in it. It reminded me a little of when the girl who was the head of our middle school chorus told me she was going to take all my friends away from me. Chorus? A head cheerleader, maybe, but
that just goes to show you how childish this behavior is. I called it out about a year ago. I called Ben Shapiro a gatekeeper, and we have gatekeepers on the left too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's gatekeepers all over. But he seemed to be the one that was trying to tell people what you must believe, what you must support, especially when it came to Israel. That's the big divide. Ben Shapiro is blaming Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson for dividing the MAGA movement about Israel. And I said, well, no, that movement started to divide because of Israel's actions, because Israel was killing children, and we could see the images everywhere. Like, all of us in the world could see the images everywhere. So obviously they weren't expecting support from the left, but Israel knew that they had that established support with at least evangelical Christians that are part of the conservative movement. After these images repeated, for over 2 years, people started to change their mind and be like, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. Like, they are really they're just trying to kill whatever and whoever. They don't care about these kids. And then, the rhetoric that was coming from the Israeli ministry and the cabinet members as well, where they were saying that they wanted to get rid of all of them. So Ben Shapiro is blaming podcasters instead of blaming his beloved Israel, which is so fitting for him, right? But it's childish behavior, what he's doing.
So I resent the whole thing. I object to the whole thing. Ben and I, he had the nerve to call me a friend right before he called me a despicable coward for not calling out the people he once called out. So he both wants to parent me and be my child. He wants to tell me what I have to do and who I have to say what to. And then when I don't, he and some of his friends want to act like utter victims because I won't do what they say. They need me. I have to be their daddy and step in to protect them. And I am not their daddy. And I resent that he thinks he's in a position to decide who must say what to whom and when. Thank you. So I don't think we are friends anymore. I've been a very good friend to Ben. Nobody knew who the heck Ben Shapiro was when I started putting him on my shows on the Fox News channel, and I helped make him a star. And I've been very, very good to Ben over the years, and he's been good to me too. He just recently came on my tour, as did you, And I gave him the most kind introduction I could possibly give him because I know that he's losing subscribers a lot. Woo! And so I tried to do something nice for him by giving him a long 10-minute intro and personally vouching for him. And we mixed it up on Israel out on stage. It wasn't Israel because we're on the same place on Israel. We mixed it up over whether Tucker Carlson should be excommunicated from the conservative movement, which I do not believe. And thank you. And when it was over, we hugged, said goodbye, and then we had a nice text exchange a couple days later saying our friendship was important to us. And the next thing I saw was him attacking me on stage last night as a coward. So that's not friendship. And I think that's fine with me, with friends like that.
So Megyn Kelly is no longer friends with Ben Shapiro. You know, Ben is going to end up in the timeout corner. He's going to be like that one kid in class that was always sitting in timeout and people didn't really want to be around him, always pushing everybody away. Ben Shapiro has turned into that person. So it's not just Tucker Carlson who clapped back at him. Megyn Kelly's mad at him. Steve Bannon has an issue with him. And of course, because he said some things about Candace Owens during that America Fest, well, she had some things to say about him. This is where the comedy comes in, because get ready to laugh. Like, I was laughing my ass off at some of this, and I have some pictures for us to laugh at too.
When it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular.
Damn. Let's go back a little bit. Hold on. Because did I show you what okay, let me show you what he said for those who didn't hear.
So, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erica Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name.
But he never said this to her face, right? Because there were multiple opportunities that Candace gave Ben Shapiro for a debate. There were multiple opportunities. When he fired her from the Daily Wire, she was open to having a debate. He was like, has to be this day, this time in person. Same thing that TPUSA did recently, by the way. I was like, oh, same tactic. But there were multiple chances where Ben could have done that. So I felt like what he did here was also kind of cowardly, where like he was willing to do that on stage in front of an audience, but he wasn't willing to say this to her face. And he knew she wasn't there to defend herself. So her response to him was this.
So no, Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA. Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. When Candace Owens says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know when it comes to you.
So now it makes me wonder if all those people are actually watching Ben Shapiro, the numbers that he has, because I showed you guys before that he's been losing subscribers. Like they just been dropping like flies because of his, his Israel position. And even in the comment section of a lot of his videos, like his own followers were going against him and like, what are you doing? This ain't it. You know what I mean? So now this is all starting to make sense because she's saying that he has been inflating his numbers, which possibly is the case. And here's the thing I want to say. People show you who they really are, because at one point, all of these people were supposedly friends with Candace. At one point, all these people, Ben and Alex and all of them, they were all buddy with her. She was a part of the Daily Wire. They loved Candace back then when she was going along with their, marching to their beat and doing what they wanted her to do. When she was supporting Israel, they loved Candace Owens then. But the moment that she decided to disagree, and at that time it was just it was one issue. It was Israel. The moment she decided to disagree, they're like, oh no, not only does she have to go, but we really need to take her down. When I tell you guys, I don't trust these motherfuckers. This is what I'm talking about. I don't trust a lot of these people. I don't trust a lot of these mofos. People will be buddy and rub elbows and stuff with you as long as you are doing and saying what they want you to do. The moment you start to have a different opinion, they'll not only try to smear you, they'll shun you, and they'll try to make sure that they end you. Lawsuits, ending careers, etc. I've seen some things. And that's on both sides, by the way. I've seen that with right-wing YouTubers, and I've seen that with left-wing YouTubers. One thing that I've learned in particular in this space is you got to be careful who you shake hands with. You have to be careful who you collaborate with. Now, Candace, going back 4 or 5 years ago, she probably never would have had any idea that these people would turn on her the way that they did. But here we are.
You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying, what is happening? Why is he on this stage? Standing against everything that Charlie believed in. That's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. I look at you and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Berith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them for years. You fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on.
It's a midget horse. I'm sorry, but it's hilarious. Oh, we got horses popping up. You guys, maybe Ben Shapiro has a Napoleon complex.
And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christus King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew. And I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all Black people.
Oh, so this part is really interesting. She said he hates all Black people. I mean, I never thought Ben Shapiro liked Black people, to be honest with you. That's why I never really understood why Candace was with them, why she was a part of the Daily Wire. He always gave me those kind of vibes, you know? You know how some people you can just kind of tell, you know? He just always kind of gave me those vibes. And I was just like, I don't really think this guy is like, yeah, I don't think, no. One thing I always felt is that Ben Shapiro cares and worries about himself. That Ben Shapiro was looking out for himself. And now here's the thing, because this is the thing we got to bring up. Where did it go? I lost it. I remember it. That's okay. How long did Candace feel this way? Did Candace feel, there it is. Desai said, didn't Candace know that when she worked there? That's the question. How long did she feel this way? Did she know all that time that she was working with him that he didn't like black people? Did she know this is really how he was? Because here's the thing. This is what I said before about working with people within this space. Sometimes people come up to you and they may offer you a great deal. I've turned them all down. I'm glad I have. You never know what you could be getting yourself into. And some people are sitting back and they're saying, well, why didn't Candace say this when she was working with them? Well, people are like, well, they probably would have fired her. Yeah, but they fired her anyway. And she didn't say that. So that's the next question that people are asking. Like, why, if you knew that, did you know that then? And why did you defend them? Why did you stay along with this team? So that's the question a lot of people have. But when the levee breaks, I mean, you know, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I am. When the levee breaks, we got to when the levee breaks, you know, I was trying to imagine, what does this midget horse look like? And that's a one, you know? And here's the thing, the horse is cute. It's an adorable horse. But I mean, and it's, you know, there's other horses that are out there like this one. I don't know. There's the castle back there. Hey, yo, Silver, and just riding in on the horse. They gave him a wig. I'm sorry. I got one more. I got one. I got one. I'm sorry. I got one more. Hold on. And I think we can drop the beat to this one, right? People are so wrong. Let me pull up the beat. We're going to drop the beat to this one. People are so wrong because they... Should we do pressure? Wait.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.
A moment can live on forever. Because see, here's the thing. Ben brought this on himself. Ben Shapiro could have came out onto that stage and he could have talked about like his future for Turning Point USA, etc., 2028, whatever. But he decided to make it personal. And so that's where this comes from. That's where this comes from. So based on what I've seen, in my opinion, Ben Shapiro is done. Ben Shapiro's done. Let me go to the comments. I'm sorry, you guys. Thank you, Kenman. I hate two things: Ben Shapiro and Care Bears. You hate Care Bears? Care Bears stare. Thank you, Hope. Can't wait for your coverage of Erica Kirk and Nicki Minaj. Oh boy, we're going to get into part of that. Thank you for that. Thank you. Cheryl says, what happened to the French assassin? I don't know. Thank you, RM. Shapiro always sounds like an angry munchkin. Thank you, Logically. Epstein's buddies versus Israel firsters fight. Thank you, Incog. U.S. citizens have fallen for the half-truths of media on both ends of the spectrum. I always say there is a particular danger that half-truths pose versus a straight lie. Oh, they rely on you not researching. That's a good point. Thank you for this one. Democrats and Republicans look much like the Western and Eastern Roman Empire. They could never find common ground, and that's why we speak of them in past tense. Thank you, J&E. Candace's inner Gabrielle Union jumped out. Abe said they loved her as long as she bashed Black people. I told you, like a lot of these, not a lot, some of these people in the space, they use people. They use you as like a little token. Thank you, Cheryl. Candace isn't just anti-Zionist, she's anti-Semitic, says Cheryl. Mountain says, loving that laugh. Thank you, Earl's daughter. Thanks for all you do, Sab. I'm here for it all. Let them all expose themselves. Separate that wheat from the chaff. Candace is the Sith. Thank you, Mountain. Bilzerian researching and studying history, ? Thank you, Bagels. A large percentage of my targeted ads on YouTube are full episodes of Shapiro's show, not an organic popularity. Whoa. Okay, that explains a lot. And thank you, Kenman. Ben joined the Pink Pony Club. Oh, poor Ben. Let's get the comment on Rockfin and we'll go to the next story. Ben. All right. Thank you for the tip on Rockfin, Stephanie. The fact that Alex Jones is now going to put out a report on Candace makes me think this guy, Mitch, is legit. Interesting. We'll have to find out, ladies and gents. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more story left. That's the big kahuna. The Charlie Kirk plot thickens, and this issue here with JD Vance. I just want to say thank you all. Quick announcement. Thank you to everybody that donated to our winter food and clothing giveaway. It was a success. Here's some of the volunteers. This is all of us, the Boston Mutual Aid chapter, or some of us in this picture. It was a great turnout.
Told you I'm stuck at this.
Mute this. The clothes did go pretty quickly. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate that. And I also appreciate your feedback. Next year, I'll make sure that I put that PO box out there earlier, like early November instead of December. So that way it gives people more time to send items. But thank you guys so much. People were so receptive. So really do appreciate that. We will resume our mutual aid workshops in 2026. So in January, when we come back from break, we're going to resume them then. The last live stream for 2025 will be Tuesday evening. I also have a guest that night. And then going forward for the rest of the year, we'll have videos, but we won't have a stream until we come back for the new year. Okay. All right, ladies and gents, the theme again is when the levee breaks. And I think the levee is breaking its way to 2028. The death of Charlie Kirk definitely changed things, as it has been reported recently by the Daily Mail. We need to talk about what is happening with JD Vance. Erica Kirk came out and she endorsed JD Vance for 2028. So it's out there. It's going to happen. And you need to remember that JD Vance is a creation. He is a creation of Peter Thiel, billionaire Peter Thiel. Without Peter Thiel, you don't have the JD Vance that you have today. That's important for everyone to understand. JD Vance appeared at America Fest, and I want you to listen to the message that he is preaching, given everything that's going on. Listen closely.
Unlike the left, we stand against treating anybody, and I love what Nikki said about this, We don't treat anybody different because of their race or their sex. So we have relegated DEI to the dustbin of history, which is exactly where it belongs. In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. And if you're an Asian, you don't have to talk around your skin color when you're applying for college, because we judge people based on who they are, not on ethnicity and things they can't control.
Here's the problem. Does everybody notice what JD Vance is doing? Do they notice what he's focusing on? As much as you hear people, especially during America Fest, complain about the identity politics, we'll get to Vivek in just a second. Why is he focusing on that? Given this is a time when the economy is taking a downturn, people are taking a hit, people are in despair. We have an economy that is not good right now. Instead of focusing on an economic message, look at what he's choosing to focus on. This is important when we get to 2028.
We don't persecute you for being male, for being straight, for being gay, for being anything. The only thing that we demand is that you be a great American patriot. And if you're that, you're very much on our team.
And here's the problem. That is not the case. Right now, there are people attacking JD Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy. They're attacking JD Vance because of his wife, and they're saying that he's not American and she's not American. They're attacking Vivek Ramaswamy because of his nationality, calling him all different types of names. And Vivek is still so desperately wants to fit in so damn bad. He's willing to go along with it anyway. And then they're bringing out tokens like Nicki Minaj. And I want to be very clear about what Nicki Minaj is doing here for those who are not familiar with her career. Nicki Minaj's career is on a downward turn. She has probably seen the best of her days as a female rapper, as days that are behind her. And this happens in the music business. You have your bump, you hit your peak, new artists emerge, people turn their face towards the new artist, and you slowly start to fade away. Nicki Minaj does not have the same type of record sales, or I guess we should say streaming, the song streamings now. She doesn't have the same type of energy. She's not producing the same type of sales that she did when she was at the height of her popularity. So this happens with musicians, unless you create timeless music, unless you were like a Michael Jackson, right? Or unless you were like a Prince or something, you know? And we don't produce many of those artists today. So the reality is her career is on a downward turn. Nicki Minaj is looking for a way to be relevant once again. And that is why she came out to support Trump and support MAGA. I don't think that Nicki Minaj really believes or cares about anything but her own pocket. I think that she is doing this so that she can increase her popularity, and she's moved on to the next thing that's going to make her money. Now, we saw this happen with Amber Rose. When Donald Trump was running for 2024, she was the one that they touted out, you know, Amber Rose, who they were calling all types of names, calling her a stripper, a hoe, and all that type of stuff. They put a dress on her, said, come on out here, you're one of us now. Now you see this happening also with Nicki Minaj. Now, out of everything that you guys have seen from Nicki Minaj over the years, do you believe that Nicki Minaj is actually conservative? I don't understand why people really falling for this bullshit. But she's there. And so they're going to rely on people like her, and we'll get to Vivek in just a second, to help them in 2028. Watch this.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact.
Donald Trump is one of the bad guys. So Nicki Minaj wants you to believe that he's not. Okay. Part of me wonder if there's some type of pardon that she's trying to get out of this as well. Nicki Minaj, from what I understand, the gentleman that she is married to was accused and served time for sexually assaulting an underage girl. So this is why I say, like, it's laughable to me. And I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet you, most of the people in that AmFest crowd out in that audience don't know that. Let her finish here.
He's from Queens, New York, like me. So, but what it's shown me personally is sometimes, you know, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never going to come back from it, but you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly.
No, he has not been through everything a person can go through. Donald Trump, she doesn't even know what she's talking about. Donald Trump grew up wealthy. He has not been through everything. But again, this is, everybody pay attention. I'm warning you right now. Nicki Minaj, Vivek Ramaswamy, they are going to be used going into JD Vance 2028. Look, see, we are a party that's embracing everybody. And they always give a microphone to people that don't know shit about politics. People like Nicki Minaj. She don't know what she's talking about. She just wants attention and she wants a check.
Having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny. Until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on, you'll never understand what it feels like. That person is a human being. They have a family who has to read those lies. And that's not, and it's just not fair. But this administration is full of people with heart and soul. And they make me proud of them. Our vice president, he makes me, well, I love both of them, but they're both powerful men, smart, strong, all of that, but both of them have a very uncanny ability to be someone that you relate to. I can relate to them. When I hear them speak, I know that they're one of us. Like, I know that they're not. Don't you guys agree? They haven't lost touch of the world. You know, they're still connected to the world and what's happening in the world, with the younger people and older people, with the richer people and not so rich people. They have the ability to still connect and be real and make us feel proud to be American.
Yeah. So you see what's coming, right? So they got her, they're going to grab her on board, and then they're going to grab this other flunky, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running for governor, who so desperately wants to be a part of the damn club, so desperately wants to fit in. It's really disturbing to me when I watch Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm like, this is someone who is so desperate to be a part of the club. He's willing to just take the fact that people in his own damn party don't want him there. And he can't like point fingers and say, well, I don't really, because he decided to run on this whole, don't focus on identity, let's focus on meritocracy. He decided to run that type of campaign when he ran for president. And so now he looked like a fool if he were to say, okay, I can't be a part of this party because of the way that they're treating me. Listen to what Vivek said.
If you believe that boys should compete with girls in girls' sports, I'm sorry, you're not on the team. You have no place in this movement. If you believe, thank you. pretty obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you believe in racial quotas in government hiring, you have no place in the conservative movement. Sorry, you're not on the team. You're free to believe it. It's a free country, but you have no place in the conservative movement. If you believe in normalizing hatred towards any ethnic group, toward whites, towards blacks, towards Hispanics, towards Jews, towards Indians, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement.
So here's the problem, Vivek. Problem is, the party that you're a part of, many of them don't want you there. They don't want you there. And he's so desperately trying to fit in. He's running for governor of Ohio after a failed presidential bid. So he's just really trying to, make his name in some way, shape, or form. He definitely wants to be a politician. He's also very rich. Vivek Ramaswamy is very rich. He could let all this go tomorrow and just go back to doing what he was doing, exploiting motherfuckers. So the reality is, you just got there yesterday. Vivek Ramaswamy is pretending as though he's been Team Trump for years. He hasn't. Vivek Ramaswamy just got there yesterday. Does everybody remember he decided to run for president in 2024 in the GOP primary? During multiple interviews, it was revealed that he was not a Trump supporter prior to that. He jumped on this bandwagon. It's so obvious. And he comes up onto the stage and he starts to tell them what their movement is going to be when he just got there. So they plan on using him.
Period. And I will not apologize for that. I will not hedge when I say it. If you believe, and you will forgive me for giving you an exact quote from our online commentator, Nick Fuentes, if you believe that Hitler was pretty fucking cool, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. You can debate foreign aid to Israel all you want. That's fine. That's fair. But you have no place with that level of hatred. You can debate the right resolution of the Russia-Ukraine war, but if you believe Joseph Stalin is someone to look up to, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. If you call Usha Vance, the second lady of the United States of America, a cheat, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. And if you can't say those things without stuttering, then you have no place as a leader at any level in the conservative movement either. Certainly not in my state of Ohio.
People are already coming after him on X that are part of the conservative movement, telling him that he needs to shut the hell up. So he's preparing himself for a greater political future, not just the gubernatorial race. And I'm going to tell you what I think this is really all about, right? It was now reported. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. Trump's secret secession. The plan was to put Charlie Kirk in the Oval Office and groom a shock new vice president. Let's go ahead and get into this here. Republican power brokers had quietly mapped out a MAGA secession plan that would eventually put Charlie Kirk in the Oval Office. A confidant of Donald Trump and Kirk has revealed to the Daily Mail. Until the plan was thwarted by Kirk's September assassination, J.D. Vance was slated to run in 2028 with Charlie Kirk as his vice president. And according to Turning Point USA board member Mike Miller, party leaders envision Kirk taking over as president 8 years later and grooming Donald Trump Jr. to become his VP. So people need to understand that one of the reasons why J.D. Vance is in that position as vice president is because of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk greatly helped him get that spot, but he wasn't alone. Like I said, he was a creation of Peter Thiel. So this was coming down the pipeline at some point or another. And that 2028 ticket, which is now being revealed, is that Charlie Kirk was going to be J.D. Vance's vice president. That was going to be his running mate. And that would set up Charlie Kirk for a presidential run in the future. The Donald Trump Jr. thing is funny as hell because that mofo was not bright. Not bright at all. Oh boy. However, things changed. Now that Charlie Kirk has been killed, now JD Vance has to look for someone else for that VP spot. And I would not be surprised if Vivek Ramaswamy, even though he's running for governor of Ohio, he's keeping his options open. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't try to step in as JD Vance's VP, or if he doesn't pursue that in some way, shape, or form. You don't know if he's going to win the governor race. There's no guarantee. He might be plotting his next move. Let's go on here. The whole gig was, it was going to be JD Vance and Charlie for 8 years after Trump. And the next 8 years after that, it was going to be Charlie and probably Don Jr. But I'm not going to go into a private conversation about that. JD Vance is a very capable and competent man. Charlie introduced him to Trump. See, everybody see this? Charlie Kirk introduced JD Vance to Donald Trump. So without Charlie Kirk, you probably don't see a Vice President JD Vance. Now, hold on to it, because we're going to put the pieces together. The idea of Kirk, who died at age 31 on a presidential ticket, was at the front of the Trump's family minds soon after they were introduced to him. In an interview on Megyn Kelly's podcast the day after Kirk's assassination, Don Jr. described his early impressions of Kirk after meeting in 2016, saying, "This kid's brilliant. This kid could be president one day." Vance also spoke about his closeness to Kirk in a social media post following his death. So the plan was to have Charlie Kirk be JD Vance's VP. But we know that in the months leading up to his assassination, Charlie Kirk started to change his opinion on how he felt about the pro-Israel donors, how he felt about Israel and this war with Iran, how he was vehemently against the U.S. going to war with Iran. I'll show you a clip of that in just a second. So that would be a problem, right? For Israel, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be a problem for the powers that be to have someone as a vice presidential candidate or on that ticket with JD Vance who didn't want to pursue these wars? Wouldn't that be a problem? And who would it be a problem for? Because you see, I'm just going to show you how this is all being set in motion. Erica Kirk came out onto AmFest and she went ahead and she already gave the endorsement.
I'm also really excited about everything that we're doing at Turning Point Action. We are locked in and mission focused for both 2026 and 2028. We're investing in states and not just in races. So what I mean by that is we are building the red wall, Arizona, Nevada, New Hampshire. That's going to be very important to us. We're going to ensure that President Trump has Congress for all 4 years. We are going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected for 48 in the most resounding way possible.
And there it is. So it's already been put out into the ether that is going to be the person that they want to go with. Now, I know Donald Trump has been talking about a third term. Donald Trump can't do a third term. He need to go sit the hell down somewhere. So, but the reality is they're already lining up to get behind JD Vance. Marco Rubio also issued a statement that he would wholeheartedly support and back JD Vance as the presidential nominee for 2028. They're already making the waves. And for people who say, well, why would they have wanted Charlie Kirk? He's so young. He hasn't done a lot. Look, I wasn't a fan of Charlie Kirk. I didn't like a lot of the things that Charlie Kirk said, but to say that he didn't do a lot, that is where I think people would be mistaken. Charlie Kirk started Turning Point USA at 18 years old. At 18 years old. Listen to some of the things that he already did. This is coming from Michael Knowles.
School. He was going to go to college, realized that was not going to be a useful way to spend his time and money. Founds Turning Point USA at 18, raises a ton of money. People believe in him. He inspires confidence from major donors and inspires confidence from the young voters that he was reaching. And he turned this into the biggest organization on the right. I don't even mean the biggest young voters organization. I mean the organization. Charlie was the nexus for all of us on the right. He became extraordinarily important to the Trump campaign. It is no exaggeration to say that President Trump in 2024 might very well not have been elected without Charlie Kirk. He just kept getting more and more responsibility. He founded Turning Point Action, which then went on to help to lead the Get Out the Vote efforts, and therefore to win the popular vote for a Republican for the first time in 20 years. He started the faith division. So even of TPUSA, you had the nonprofit, you had the political action, you had the faith division, you had women's leadership, you had all of these different divisions. In the meantime, while he's doing all of this stuff, 18 founds the organization, 22 he's addressing the RNC, this rocket ship of influence in American politics, reshapes the government, as the vice president pointed out last night, helped staff the government. And as he's doing all of this, he published 5 books. He married his beautiful wife. He had 2 wonderful children.
Now, he had the monetary means to do some of these things too. It's not like he came from like a poor family. So let's keep that in mind. But the point is, he did a lot. And this is what I've been saying for the longest time. Rich said, Dems doing what they always do, nothing. The Democratic Party never gave an answer to Charlie Kirk. The Democratic Party never had someone go out there and really, capture like the youth vote, etc. All throughout the year, speaking at all these colleges. They never had that. Some people say AOC. AOC is a politician. I'm talking about someone, and AOC ain't even there half the time anyway. I'm talking about someone who would have been like a competitor to Charlie Kirk, but doing that for the Democratic Party. They never had that person to get out there and do that. And this is what I've been warning people about. Turning Point USA has continued to build and build and build and grow and grow and grow. After Charlie Kirk passed away, after Charlie Kirk was killed, they have received more donations. They're getting more money. Remember, we were talking about how much money they've been able to make since Charlie Kirk died. So they're not losing, but they're getting more and more money. So there's that to keep in mind as well. So they are growing. They already laid out their plan about the red wall that they want to build. They already had a whole secession plan here with Charlie Kirk as the vice president, making his way as the presidential, nominee in the future. This was all already laid out. And the Democratic Party, they don't want to get their head out their ass, and they're not equipped to fight this. And this is something I think people don't want to hear. Come 2028, not that far away, but come 2028, if the Democratic Party does not offer a counter to Turning Point USA, to what Charlie Kirk and them have been able to do, they could lose again. Now, I think some people will go out and they'll vote for the Democrats just because they're tired of Trump's ass. I think that's going to be a reality. But what the Democratic Party didn't do is they did not establish a longevity plan for the younger politicians to move forward. Turning Point USA has already established a plan for the younger people to move forward. The J.D. Vance, the Charlie Kirk, etc. Best Democratic Party could do was, Hillary comes after Obama. And then the Kamala, they didn't even want Kamala. Some people still don't know this. They didn't even want Kamala Harris. Joe Biden wanted, what's that girl's name who threw forks at people? Oh, Amy Klobuchar. He wanted Amy Klobuchar as his VP. Democrat leadership said, no, you need to pick like a black woman. So go with Kamala. And then the idea was that Kamala Harris would become president by Joe Biden resigning and passing the baton to her. The idea was not that she was going to have to actually run a campaign again, like she did in 2020. But all that was all crazy. So we all know that story. So they're not prepared to deal with this. And I think that they're underestimating them. Erica gave it away here when she said that he was going to be president. Listen to this.
My husband never told anyone what to say. He never did. He never told anyone what to say. He would just encourage them to think. He would encourage them to think outside of the traditional political labels. He would want them to think in a way that was anchored in wisdom and truth. But he would never tell anyone what to say. Charlie wasn't content to simply admire freedom. He wanted to multiply it. He wanted to multiply freedom. He wanted young people to taste it and to understand it and defend it. He wanted them to see that liberty isn't self-indulgence, it's self-governance under God. He wanted them to see that. And every day I'd see him getting ready for work. He'd put on his cross necklace, he'd put his ring on his finger. And the boldness in his demeanor was always fearlessness. He wasn't afraid. He was never afraid. In his daily actions, whether in office or on campus or at a church, it was always without fear. That was his creed. That is how he lived out every single day. He didn't fear being slandered. He did not. He didn't fear losing friends, I can tell you that. He didn't. He didn't care. He stood for truth and stood for freedom, and he did not, everything else was just noise to him. And it's because his confidence in Christ was absolute. That's why. There was no limit to what he would have sacrificed to defend freedom for all. And if the moment had come, he probably would have run for president, but not out of ambition. He would only have done it if that was something that he believed that his country needed from a servant's heart standpoint.
But he was going to do it. See what I'm saying? There was no probably. He was going to do it. He was already being lined up to do that. So here's the thing, folks. Everyone needs to pay attention to what's going on. So Charlie Kirk was killed. So now there goes that VP opportunity for him. And I still point to this because I still feel like this is part of the problem. Because why would Israel want someone to be vice president of the United States who's in line to become president of the United States when they said this?
Across Chicago, where I grew up, or in Phoenix, are amazing. In Scottsdale, they literally have a restaurant called The Persian Room. I get it. But this is a completely different thing. If the people of Persia want to take back their government organically, authentically, from the ground up, we will be cheering them on. Of course we will. But Western forced central planning regime change is if we are just going to take out the Ayatollah. Oh, really? What comes next? What comes after regime change? Might be, oh, well, we need a small number of U.S. troops to support the new regime. And then, well, the new regime needs our financial support. Then, okay, then we need a few more U.S. troops. We have seen this play before. Or get regime change, you have no idea how this is going to work out. You have no idea. The best case scenario is like probably 5,000 U.S. troops and $100 billion. The probably most probable scenario is a bloody civil war that results in a couple 100,000 people dead, all these different ethnic groups fighting. Iran is a country of 92 million people. Let me repeat. Iran is a country of 92 million people. It's 2.5 times the size of Texas. We've been reporting this on our program the last couple of days. It is a beast of a country. Not to mention you could trigger another refugee crisis coming to the West. And so Lindsey Graham, listen very carefully. We went from take out the nuclear program to regime change in just a couple of days. This is why our program is succeeding right now. Because we are taking a non-ideological, patriotic, America First approach right now, where other people are all over the place. No intervention under any circumstances. Okay, I can hear that. I can sympathize with that. But 86% of Americans don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb. Or you have the people that redesign the entire Middle East in their image. Meanwhile, our country is collapsing. Let's play first 342.
Does everybody see the problem? He was one of the people that spoke to Donald Trump against the war in Iran. He went to Donald Trump and said, no, this is a bad idea. We can't have a war with Iran. He did that. Now, this is not to brag and toot about Charlie Kirk, but I'm trying to get you to connect the dots. The point is, this is someone who was next in line to at least be a VP candidate, and then eventually president. But in the months leading up to his assassination, he started to change his opinion on certain things, and he started to push back here against regime change, against these wars. We saw those text messages where he said he was getting tired of the pro-Israel donors. All of these things were a problem. This is not someone that Israel would want to be in the White House. This is not someone that Israel would want to even be vice president with these statements. These are public statements. So he came out against the regime change. That's problem. Coming out against the pro-Israel donors, that's a problem. And especially among someone who had so much influence. He had influence about a lot of young people. So he's gone. They don't have to deal with that problem anymore. And then that leaves the door open to who JD Vance's running mate is going to be. And I feel like Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to position himself in such a way so that if he doesn't win this gubernatorial race, maybe he can jump on to JD Vance's coattails and become his running mate. I don't put anything past Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he's a complete opportunist. I think he so desperately wants to be a part of the club. He's willing to do anything and whatever it takes to get there to be a part of it. I really do believe that. Even though people in that party are humiliating him on a daily basis on social media, telling him they do not want him there. I think that JD Vance, with the issue with his wife, the way that people are still coming after him and coming after his wife because they said, no, she's not American, you're not American, all this types of stuff. You know, and then I look at Erica. Who's now a widow. And then I remember the way that people were applauding when JD Vance and Erica hugged each other on that stage, that hug that we talked about. And I saw the pictures going around on social media, people saying that should be the couple. That should be the next. They should be the ones in the White House. And then you got Nicki Minaj's crazy ass. Nicki Minaj is going to be used as a pawn, just like, you know, Kanye was, just like Amber Rose was. They're just going to use her as a pawn to try to get, you know, more Black people to come out and support or whatever. Like, I mean, and then when this is all over, they'll be done with her too. They know she's an opportunist. She knows she's an opportunist. They both know what they're doing here. But the problem with all of this is that the Democratic Party has no answer to this. None. They have a bench that's empty. Their approval rating, you look at the congressional approval rating, their approval rating is terrible in Congress right now. In the Democratic Party, it's still bad, even though Trump is this bad. The Democratic Party in Congress has a terrible approval rating right now. And then all these people that they're pointing to, and they say Gavin Newsom and all this. Gavin Newsom is incredibly corporate, and he's been leaning more to the right. Listen to him very carefully. Kamala Harris says she's getting ready to put herself back out there again. I think we all know what that means. I mean, it just, come on. They do not have an answer to this. And this is where I point to the other options. This is where, going into 2028, this is where we need to pay more attention to people running as independents and people running as third party. Because I think it's getting to a point, and we'll have to run through the numbers. I think it's getting to the point where people are tired of all of this. You see the disappointment that people have on the Republican side with the Epstein files. Israel, etc. People also have that disappointment with Israel on the Democrat side. And speaking of the Epstein files, why aren't any of the other Democrats out there supporting Ro Khanna and what he's doing? Why aren't any of the other Republicans out there supporting Thomas Massie and what he's doing? Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is now resigning. So I don't know. I think 2028, we really need to see a candidate that is not a part of these parties, but somebody that is really going to shake things up and isn't afraid to do so. It has to be someone who does not do business as usual. No billionaires. No, no more Kennedys. But somebody who's willing to take off the damn gloves. And somebody that's willing to bring people together on an economic agenda that is going to benefit the working class. All this talk about the identity that JD Vance is talking about, and Vivek has to bring that up, and both parties bring these things up. It just goes to show you, though, that they're not focusing on the here and now, when right now people have economic disparity, the economy's a mess, and they're talking about all this other stuff. So it's got to be somebody that comes forward with that message. And I don't know who that person is going to be. But right now, I don't think it exists currently in either one of those parties. But that was supposed to be the plan. And I just find it interesting that he just happened to be killed right after he started changing his opinion on some of these foreign policy issues, because his opinion seemed to stay the same on the domestic issues. It makes you think. Stay tuned, guys. 2028, I'm telling you, it's about to be wild. And yes, the VU. Sabby understands the DNC has no answer to TPUSA. Thank you. You just basically summed it up for me. They don't. And that's going to be a problem. So, when the levee breaks, I think it's already broken. All right. I think Eric is going to, the poll. Sorry, the poll. Eric's like, don't forget the poll with it. Okay. Should Congress impeach Pam Bondi for not complying with the Epstein file release? We have holy shit. How many people were watching today? 4,128 votes. Should Congress impeach Pam Bondi for not complying with the Epstein files? 5% said no. 87% said hell yes. And 9% said, I am not sure. Well, Bondi Blondie, it don't look good for you. At least not on this channel. My viewers are not having it. Oh man. Okay, guys. Last live stream of the year is this Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And then, yeah.
People are watching today. We had it peaked out at about 6,000 live viewers.
Holy shit. Where did everybody come from?
Because
are there no football games on today? I thought there was.
Patriots come on at 8.
The night game. Okay, that is interesting. All right, well, welcome everybody. And Eric's gonna do the super chats, and he's gonna close out the show because I have a hard stop on Sunday nights.
Yeah, there was one had a question for you. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Oh, where is it? There it is. Ta-da!
Oh, yeah, I know. Thanks, author. Hi, Sabby. Looking forward to hearing your take on the new Dave Chappelle comedy special on Netflix. Yeah, I watched it over the weekend too. Unfortunately, and this is one thing I hate, maybe one day YouTube will change this. Because it's Netflix, it has copyright. I tried to show a couple of clips from Dave Chappelle one time before on this show. I think that might have been like 2 years ago. And they pulled the stream because Netflix has copyright. So it sucks because they got those clips on Twitter, and I wanted to talk about that, but I can't because Netflix copyright.
Yep.
It was good though. It was really good. I think, in my opinion, I think
I
that
guess we
was one
talk
of
about it
Dave-
now.
Well, I think that was one of Dave Chappelle's best performances. I really do, and I've seen all of his. But that one was good. The way he walked you through the stories, and I also like the jab he took at Bill Maher there. So I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I think the way that he did that.
Did he get very political?
Somewhat, he talked about, he got into Israel. That's where he was having that beef with Bill Maher there. He talked about Israel. He talked about the number, like a number of Palestinian journalists that have been killed, like that type of thing. He talked about Diddy. He talked about the Mann Act. He talked about Jack Johnson, old school boxer from back in the day, where the Mann Act comes from. So the thing I like about Chappelle is that he intertwines history into his comedy. So he kind of blends, some historical things that happen in there to get you to understand why what's happening today is happening today. So I loved it. Yeah, that was a mic drop moment about Israel. Yeah, that one was really good. That was really good when he said that. He talked about like people being co-opted and stuff like that. And it was good. I think that was one of his best ones. He's a great storyteller. And I think sometimes people forget, like, comedians do have that ability to also be a storyteller and not just make people laugh,
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And in answer to your question about, or talking about like the type of person we need, to be not connected to the party and whatnot, and the way I'd like to maybe go into framing it is saying the person we need is us, right? Is the movement, with clear demands and calling out the corruption. So
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah, it's good. If you guys haven't watched it, check it out. On Netflix. It's funny. You guys know how Dave Chappelle is, so but watch it. That's a really good one.
All right, cool. I'm going to close things out and I'll let you go on to your Sunday and we'll see you on Tuesday.
All right, guys, have a good night. Keep up the fight.
All right. And I'm just going to close things out here. Just, sorry, just hitting the screen here, just going on to what I was alluding to a minute ago about what do we need to get out of this mess? And the whole, MCDS and 11 demands stuff is about getting us to be a movement that has clear demands and that, and that calls out that corruption. So MCDS, is part of that. It's part of 11 demands, money, corruption, demand solutions, right? It's about how our government really works. Like when Sabby was talking about what the Democrats were doing versus the Republicans were doing, and what it comes down to is it's all about that money, right? Big money's running everything. So if you're wondering why, right, are the Democrats so weak? Why are the Republicans so vicious when they are? It's because they're paid to be that way, right? It's theater, it's a game. And you go to the corruption, right? Our so-called representatives, don't represent us. They represent the billionaires and the mega corporations and the banks, and they need to be called out as corrupt. And if some politician or so-called leader isn't doing that, then they're revealing themselves to you with what they're not saying and doing. There's the demands. Then you have to take this to having clear demands, get the corruption out, fix the corruption. You can see 11 demands for that. And once you start talking about those demands, the solutions become self-evident. They come out of that. And, and so when you get into the demands, it plays out that way. And so, the demands aren't rocket science. They aren't, but it's incredible how little things are actually framed in terms of demands. It's healthcare, it's ending the wars, it's justice, and you're going to have to fix the big money. So, kind of connecting that to, what what was in the stories tonight. There was, about you have Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey sort of forming a coalition, sort of working together on this Epstein issue. But the question I keep asking is, Ro Khanna, if you are so incensed with what's happening with the Epstein files and all of this, why are you in that party? Why are you part of a genocidal, corrupt party? Get out of that party. Get out of both parties. Thomas Massey, if you're so worked up about the Epstein files and the corruption, what are you doing in a corrupt, horrific Republican Party? Exit that party. When these guys get out of those parties, form something new, and really start collaborating and really start representing the 99% in a real way, then we're really talking about something. But I don't think we can be waiting for them to do it or rely on them to do that, because if they would have, they wouldn't have those jobs in the first place. The way this happens is it comes down to us. So it comes down to having clear demands. It comes down to us figuring out a way to turn all that into a real movement. And then out of that movement, we'll get leaders and change, and the potential for real change. So hopefully, as we're getting into next year, we can be talking about how to turn all that kind of thing into a reality. All right, that's the 11 Demand spiel for the moment. I'm going to read some super chats, but do check out 11demands.org if you want more details on that. If you're wondering about kind of the why, check out 11 Demand strategy. That's right there. Meanwhile, here in the show chat, let's see. Thanks for the super chat. Lonzo Thompson says, shout out to you, Sabby. Keep up the great work, and I appreciate all that you and your team do. Well, thank you, Lorenzo. Appreciate you. And thanks for this one, Claudius. Charlie said, keep asking questions. That includes Candace. Go by facts, whatever direction they point to. Otherwise, we're just another cult. I hear you. And thanks for this one, Measured Man. This one's a little bit cryptic, but I'm seeing Peter Thiel equals Palantir. Who is with Lori Franz, that's U201 per feed of a surveillance state, posted SEC on X 2018 is the key. All right, thanks for that. And thanks for this one, Kinkata. I think that's what that is. Candace read or read secret relationship between blacks and Jews. That's why she said that. All right. Man, one thing with YouTube now is they only show us these your handles, and they don't show us like the real name of the person doing the chat, which makes it kind of hard for some of these things. But that's YouTube; they do what they want. And thanks, June Maginin, becoming a member on YouTube. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Thanks for this one, Mr. Roger Meadows, who says, Remy Ma destroyed Minaj with Caesar. Okay. I think you really meant Sabrina to see that one and read that one out more than me. But that's all right. We'll get there. Thanks for this one, For Sale 313. New stage name, Nicki Minaj. All right. And thanks, Chip Walter. He says, congratulations, Tucker Carlson, for being awarded Anti-Semite of the Year. Sabby, I hope you can get it next year. There you go, a badge of honor, right? And thanks for this one, Cheryl. Candace still defends Derek Chauvin and says Floyd was responsible for his own death, and now absolving white people of slavery to blame Jews, I assume it means. They even created Jim Crow. Yeah, I won't even get into that. But thanks for the super chat. Thanks for this one, Kenman. Vivek is whiter than Saga. Okay. And thank you, Mountain Star Studio, who says, Boost-worthy, Divine Rebel 333, Mountain Star Studio. Love Ian Carroll. He's so great with research. Respect. Recent Vegas shooting episode does deep dive of deception. He gave Sabby props recently. Well, thanks for that. And thanks for this one, Juliet, who says that was nauseating. I think talking about one of these clips playing back. And thanks for this one, Alan Paulson. It says, if you arrange Peter Thiel's name, it spells the reptile. All right. I felt like an anagram. And let's just see what we got out here on the old rock fins. Couple out here. There we go. Thanks for the tip comment on Rockfin, Stephanie Caro, who says, thank you, Sabby, for leading the way on mutual aid. Community building is the way to go. Yes, appreciate that. And thanks for the tip comment, Roger, on Rockfin. They laying out plans for a dynasty with no policies. The rent is still too darn high. Income inequality is widening, and AI putting us out of work. It won't mean a damn thing. It won't mean a damn thing who they groom. Gotcha. Thanks for that, Roger. Yeah, I mean, they don't have policies. What they have are interests. And that's another part of the whole 11 demand strategy and 11 demands way of looking at things, is just to be clear about the interests, and whose interest is a given politician or pundit working for. And what we find is that those, that are currently in government, our so-called representatives, they don't work in our interests. They're not working in the interests of 99%. They're working in the interests of the billionaire class, the top 1%, and the mega corporations, military industrial complex, banks, which are all kind of the same thing. It's all about the billionaires and their interests. So, that's what I would put it at. It's about interests. We need to be looking out for our interests and having clear demands and figuring out ways to get together as the 99% to get those demands met. All right, that is going to do us for today. Like Sabby said, we'll be back at you with the last live Sabby Sabs show of the year on Tuesday, coming up in just a couple of days. So we will see you then live. Remember 11 demands for all that good stuff. And of course, there's always clips running. Once in a while, also Sabby will throw out a new clip that's not from the live stream. So do watch out for those. And until the next one, next time, keep up that fight. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.